Hi everybody, this is Diane. Thank you for joining me once again at my pretty pink cottage here on YouTube. I'm continuing work on the 50s fashion journals, and today we'll be doing step 4. As a reminder, you can go back and watch the other videos, but this is a step-by-step process of how I typically do my signatures inside the journal, the pages that will go in. So the cover I can make before I make the pages, or I can make it after I make the pages. I switch that up. But for the pages, for a typical journal of mine, these are the steps I do. I select the pages, cut them, collate them, and the next step is I color the white pages with sprays or stencils or stamping or combination of the above, or even just glue on a element, a fussy cut or something, just to decorate the page a bit so it's not just white. And then I do the third step is fabric and laces. So that was yesterday's video, and I did complete that in both books. So I have fabric on, or lace on the edges of each signature, and then I did a little bit of lace partway through each signature, and then we did the fabric flips. And this time I made, I styled them after fabric sampler cards, like a swatch card, but I used a fabric at the top instead of the card, the paper. So that's done. So the next step is pockets. I go through my journals and I start adding pockets of various types. So I have some done in this one and some prepped. So we'll work on this. As you can see, I'm using images from vintage magazines from the 1950s. So here's a pretty lady, and I glued her onto some vellum, and I cut around her here at the front, but I left the vellum all along here, and it makes a nice pocket. And I just tucked in one of these little digital cards. So we might be doing one of those today. And there's a fabric flip, and then we go on. I'm passing over a lot of pages. We'll have to go back and pay attention to them, but I'm kind of zoning in till I get to the part where I can focus on individual pages. Right now I'm just kind of, I know what kind of a pocket I want, so I find a page to put it on. And when I'm done with that, that's like the big stuff, the fabric, the lace, the pockets. And the inserts for the pockets can come now or later, that doesn't matter. And then I will zone in a little bit more and do more small embellishments and look at a page and say, this page needs something. What do I have that can go on that page? Right now I have something, and I'm like, what page will this go on? Does that make sense? Here is a fabric pocket, and I'm going to glue this on. I have some pieces prepped for the next fabric pocket, so I'll talk about that and how I did that two-tone effect there. I'm just going to glue this piece of lace on for an accent. And you can see that I took one of my large wallpaper tags that I did in one of the videos and put it in that pocket. So the tags and cards and things that go into the pockets, like I said, they can go, I can make them before I even start the journal, or during the process of the journal, or after. I can do them anytime. So I usually do some tags first, right off the bat. So that's what I did here. Okay, then we'll move on to the next pocket. I think I'm doing 3 pockets in each signature at this point. I did the same thing sorry, with the vellum, and so this is shaped, and there's vellum here and here. I mean, there's vellum all behind her, but I didn't cut away the vellum, so it's a sturdier pocket. And then this little spoke on the umbrella, I glued that right down, so I'll have to put something in there. So the next signature in the same journal, it's going to have a different kind of a pocket here. So what I did was I took my ladies from my books, magazines that I want to use, and decide with each lady how I want to create the pocket. So for this one, I decided I wanted her to be on vellum. She has a white sheer dress, and I thought the clear vellum would just help contribute to that sheer ephemeral look. And again, this isn't a sheer as delicate of a dress, but it's white, so I just went with that. For this one, I wanted a little more color besides red, so I'm going to put her on yellow. The cover of this book has white and yellow and red. So I'm going to put her on this and make a cardstock pocket, and we can put a tag in there. So I do want to trim this a little bit. It doesn't have to be full length, or it could be. Could be the full length. Let's make it a full length pocket. But it looks like it needs something behind her, right? So I could emboss the card, or I could put a background on it, some kind of a background. I want to round the corners that are facing out. So I could do a background stamp, or I could put a background paper on it, but I do want some of the yellow to show. So just something like that, just a strip of paper. See how that looks. It just adds a little more color. Don't want it to look like she's got a halo. As I said in I think the previous video, one of the videos, I said that I often will put scrapbook paper, pattern paper at the front of the signature. So that makes a good space to have a pocket, because most of the time you can't really write on the pattern paper. So if I put a pocket there, then we will be able to put a card, papers, tag, something inside the pocket that you can write on. After you make this pocket, before we move on to the next one in the book, I forgot I wanted to talk about the pockets I'm making for the back inside cover. I'm using a die for them, so I want to do one of those. When I do a journal, I usually have 3 signatures, and I follow a pattern. I will make one signature and do some decorations in it anyway, and then I will repeat those decorations in the other signatures. I have the pages, the types of pages, pretty much in the same order in each signature, and I will repeat elements. So the fabric flips are in the same place in each signature for the most part, not always. Sometimes the paper I'm using in one signature doesn't work well. for that element. So I might have to switch things around. But what was my point? Oh, but each one is different anyway. So this is a cutout lady on vellum. This is, but it's cut around her, so it's a shaped pocket. This is a cutout lady, but it's more of a rectangular pocket. So each, it's just the fact that I want a pocket on the front, a pretty lady pocket on the front, or on this page, or whatever the case may be. But I like to have variety. I don't want everything to be the same. And sometimes it's the same type of pocket in each signature, like the front cover would have the same, the front of each signature would have the same type of pocket, but they all look different because they have different images, different design elements, ephemera pieces, whatever. So they're all different. So I can put a nice big card in there. Next one should be fabric in the middle. I want you to see all the fabric flips because you didn't get to see them all. I put a little bit of lace. I don't think I've done that to all of them, but I will. And it's on the back of this page where I have a fabric pocket. So this one is a Simplicity fabric. I cut that piece out and sewed it onto this pocket. And then I sewed the pocket to the page. And I know I had to sew on this page that I didn't want to sew through on this. But I had to because the tags are so big and the pages are narrow enough that if I use glue, the glue spreads out and takes up more space, and then this tag would not have fit in there. So I had to do that. And then on the back page, this one's already done. This was a shaped image, and I just glued her to a cream colored cardstock and cut all around her. There's no vellum, it's just she's on sturdy cardstock. So what I do here is I take my piece and lay it down and decide what contact points need the glue. So I did here and across the bottom and here, and then I did right here. But this is open here, so you can see the tag through there. It gives you a little more space for more tags. There's plenty of room here, so if I didn't have that cut out, it would still fit a good size tag. But it's fun to see things peeking through. So those are the pockets done in that signature. For this one, again, I used a lady. I did not even cut her out from her background. I left her there, and I just sewed her to a piece of brown cardstock, and I will just glue this down. I could embellish with some lace. I didn't bring any lace pieces over here with me. Oh, I forgot to I forgot to talk about the back pocket. We'll get there. I still have lots of time. I prepped enough stuff, did enough work ahead of time, that I think I'll have time to get to all the pockets. All right, I'm going to go to that right now, the back pocket. So I got this die. I got it from Amazon. I had seen someone making something. I don't remember what they used. It was either a stamp or a die, and it was from Elizabeth Craft Designs. So I looked on Amazon for what other things she had, and I found some stamps and I found some die sets. So I haven't even had a chance to play with them yet, but I did do this one just today. But I found out that this die is too long for my my platform that I have. Hang on. It's too long for this. It hangs off for my big shot. But my friend who no longer does paper crafts, years ago gave me her crafty stuff, and she gave me this long platform and these cutting plates. But there's this and 2 cutting plates, but it was not a big enough, it wasn't a thick sandwich, so it would just slide right through and nothing would cut. So I actually took 5 pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. 5. Folded them in half. So there are 10 layers of cardstock. And with my 2 cutting plates and this platform and these, it was enough to cut my papers. But it works. So I'll just keep those cardstock pieces with those long platforms. So anyway, I cut this, and these are made for planners. They have little holes to put them in a planner. But it comes with the pocket and some cards and even the little reinforcement for the cards. And then a star, a star and a heart. What does this say? I can't even tell what it says. But I think it says this. And this says cherish every day. So, I sold something, yay. I cut it with double-sided paper, a heavier one, because you can see as you fold the pocket up, you're going to see one side and then the other side. And this is how it comes out once it's all put together. And it does have the holes. I wonder if I could have folded it the other way and had it go this way. I wonder if I was supposed to, because then the curves match. Let me see what they did. Nope, they have the curves going in opposite directions. So anyway, so I did that, and I inked around it and then glued it all together. Then I cut a tag with the largest die. And the cool thing is, you can cut one plain reinforcement, or you can use this, and it cuts 3 at a time. Isn't that awesome? So it has the plain one and then 2 that are stitched. One has stitches and one has dots, which they're not that noticeable, but it does add a little bit of detail to it. So I'm going to glue that to that, and I might use one of my magazine images to decorate the tag. But I might not, because I'm decorating this part. And I have this, I don't even know where I got this from. I don't know if somebody sent that to me or what, but I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to put it onto something heavier and put it in there. So I don't know if I need to decorate that tag. It can just be a plain one. But I do want to decorate the pocket. So I have this piece of netting that came off of a vintage hat. And this is a hat image from a catalog. I'm just going to put a little glue on there. It's got the little fuzzy dots on there. I want to make sure they are showing. Okay, then I'm going to add this. This is the same blue as that, but I embossed it and punched it with my 2.5-inch circle and inked it with Vintage Photo. And then I'm just going to add her. And this will go in the blue book. I'm working on the red one right now, what we're doing in this video, but I've done all the prep work for the pockets in the blue book also. Oops. So I don't know about these holes, if I'll do anything with them or just leave them. I could thread something through them. But I don't know if I will. I just love that they have reinforcements in this shape. That is really cool. So do you want me to show you the stamps and dies that I got from Elizabeth Craft Design on Amazon in another video? I have so many supplies that I'm kind of embarrassed to show you when I get more. So this hides the tag, but it's in there and it can be written on. This is how it looks when it's cut, and it is scored, so it's easy to fold. The holes should line up. So where's that score mark? I probably should have put one piece of cardstock in as a shim. Okay, the holes are lined up right now, and that would define the score marks better. But that looks pretty, and then I'll just find a way to embellish that with probably another hat. And or maybe a shoe with color behind it, like I did here. I think I'll use that shoe. That is so elegant. And that will be in the red book. This is going to go on the back inside cover, like that. Pretty, huh? Yes. Okay, back to our pockets that we're making for the signatures. Put these up in a safe place. Oops. And we will do what's next in this signature. Okay, we already talked about that. And we already did that. Okay, so we're on the last signature. That's right. So we did that one already. And I did this one because I did the sewing that I needed to do because I'm not at the sewing machine today. So I took a piece of a really pretty floral fabric with roses that match the paper, and I added this little scrap as an applique and added this vintage trim and this tag. And then the last pocket that we're doing in this video is this. So this is a lady that I cut from the magazine. I cut this space out, but I don't know, I put it on the ivory colored cardstock, and I don't know if I want to cut that space out again. It stands out from the background because it's cream, and it stands out from her because it's not the old magazine page, and I think it looks fine that way and sturdier, so I think I'll leave her. So I lay her down here and see what kind of contact points I need. Obviously the bottom, and it could be just her elbow and her hat to make her head stable so it's not just popping up. But the corner of her hat and her elbow and the bottom, and then you have a lot of space. Let's try that. Make sure you get the right elbow, the proper side. just for example's sake. So there's enough room. I can go almost to the point there and to her elbow. So there's plenty of room for this nice big size card, or whatever size I want to put in there. And that takes care of the 3 pockets in each of the signatures of that journal. So let's turn our attention to these signatures. I might as well glue this down right now, so I don't spend time saying, what did I do with that pocket? I'm going to glue the whole thing down. I could leave it open in the back, but I don't think I will for this one. Well, I know I won't because I'm already putting the glue on. That just looks so elegant. And you can hardly see that nutting there, but it is a textural element that you will notice in person. And then we have that card behind. Okay, so this one has more work to be done. The first signature I was pretty much done with each of those pockets. I did some of the prep work on these, but not all of it. So here's a pretty lady. I'm going to glue her to the cardstock. I keep a pile of ivory colored cardstock in here to grab and do these sorts of things with. I took my granddaughter to my daughter's house again today to play with the cats, feed them, make sure they had their water. So I told you that that Adam rescued a little kitten. So cute. And they already have a mature cat named Jethro. And Jethro was not pleased with the new addition. He growls at him in the back of his throat. But today, he wasn't exactly friendly, but he wasn't growling and he wasn't hiding away. He came and joined us. We were there for about an hour, and he watched the kitten play without growling at him. And Jethro even played a little, not with the kitten, but he was playing. And I don't see him play very often. And he was even purring when I petted him. So he's learning to accept the new kitten, I think. And the kitten was up on the arm of the sofa, and as Jethro walked, he kept walking past, kind of rubbing his back on the sofa, and the kitten was grabbing for his tail. His tail was held up, and every time Jethro walked past, the kitten was grabbing for his tail, trying to play with it, and Jethro never even noticed. The kitten's name is Gotham. They live about 4 or 5 blocks from the post office in their town, so when I take Layla to play with the cats and feed them and stuff, I take my packages that I have to mail and walk to the post office. So I get some steps in, get my packages mailed, she gets kitten time. So I put it on this edge and this edge and this. This was a pretty easy one to figure out. Could have done her chin too, but allows a little more space if I leave her chin open. All right, this one, I wanted to show you how I put the pocket together. So I prepped it as far as selecting the fabric and getting them to the right size, and then I laid the fabrics. This is going to be the top band at the pocket, and I made it a little more than twice the width that I wanted it to be, so it'll end up looking like that. But you lay them facing each other. This is the right side, this is the right side. It's called right sides together when you're sewing. So you put them right side together and then just sew across the top in about a 1/4 inch seam. And it looks better if you press it. So it looks kind of puffy there. You can press it flat. And I fold it over, and if I was sewing a garment, I would want to turn the raw edge under here and sew it so it looks finished, but this won't matter. So I'm just going to fold it over to cover the seam in the back, and I'll probably pin it to make sure it stays in place, and then I would just sew on the band close to the seam, and that will catch that in. As long as you make sure the edge of the fabric is underneath the seam, and then on this side you're going to sew above the seam, so it'll catch the fabric. And then I would press that band to be nice and crisp, and then I would glue this daisy trim on it. So I'll do that at the sewing machine, but I just wanted to leave it open so you could see how I did it. In case you're not a sewer, that's something that someone who sews would know, but not all of us are sewers. And I don't like to assume that everybody knows what I'm talking about. Whoops. And what's the back pocket on this signature? It's a vellum lady. I took her and glued her to some vellum, and I will probably have to cut off the back part of the table, but this is one that's going to keep some of the vellum on it to give it some integrity. So I'll cut all around her up here, and I'll leave the vellum here and down here. But first I'm going to cut the vellum. I don't want to have to cut around more than I need to. So we'll just cut the excess off right now. Oh, I'm leaving that part. I brought Layla here after we, hung out with the cats for an hour, and I did a little bit in here about half an hour, and then I made her some lunch. And oh goodness, I didn't get much sleep last night. And we watched Toy Story 2 while we ate our lunch. We watched Toy Story 1 the other day when she was here. But then I wanted to get in here and do some more work. So she finished watching it. And then I took her home. So I had time to prep for this video while she was watching that movie. Let's see how that looks. Yeah. So she's a pocket that will stick up. The shape will stick up above the pocket. So I'll just put glue on both sides and the bottom. That glue should dry clear. And I'll be able to fit a tag in there. Okay, next is another one I'm going to add to cardstock. I think I want this to be a little narrower. And I need a contrasting strip here, or some kind of an element on this paper. I always look to my cut-off pieces first and try to use them. I would make that thinner, but I think that pink looks good with that. Maybe I don't need that. Okay, we'll put it up there. Get around the corner again. I think that's a kind of a neat stylized sketch here. I have several other sketches from the same article. There's that one, and we might as well do the back while we're here. This one is all ready to glue down. I just wanted to talk about contact points. So I already glued her to the cardstock and cut her out. So for this one, this is pretty easy too. I'll do the bottom, of course, and then these two little edges and right here on the back of her turban. Then we get the fun of filling in the pockets with whatever we're going to fill them with. I did do the bottom, right? Yeah. So there's that one. That's signature number 2, right? So we only have one more signature to do. I'll show you the flips I did for this one. That's the next thing we're going to look at. And I did this flip. This is the last one. Oh, we have to talk about this one, right? So I'm not going to do anything on this video with it, but again, I left it open. I guess I forgot I left the other one open. It's the same sort of thing, except this is just one piece of fabric with this sewn on the front. I didn't add a band to the top. I just cut this large enough so I could fold it over. And so there's no seam to hide. That stitching is just from where I sewed this little piece, applique it. So I can just fold this down to whatever height I want and then sew across that and then sew it to the page. And again, I'm sewing it and not gluing it because I need the space for this large tag. So then that signature will have its pockets, at least the 3 main pockets. We're missing something here. I think I had something prepped for it. Did something come off? I don't see it. I'll have to find something to put there. Where is it? Oh, I guess I didn't prep all of the pockets for this because I need fabric here. Oh, I wanted to show you, when I glued this on, I had the page upside down, so I glued it right here. And then I opened it up and saw this. So I tore it off carefully, but it still tore the paper. But it's going to be covered with a pocket, so it won't matter. I have 2 pockets to make there. And here I have this one prepped. Again, she is glued to cardstock already. And this is an ad for Dorothy Gray creams. So this was text right here. So I thought maybe I would add this to a card or a tag to tuck into there, into that pocket. I'm so sorry. I was up late last night. I mean, I went to bed, but I was just lying there wide awake. So I got up, did some of this work in here. I think it was 2:30 when I went to bed. And I'm gonna secure her head down right there. I'm just going to clip this here so I don't forget that it goes with this. Oh, well, that took care of our time. So I just have 2 more pockets to do, and then I can move on to focusing on each individual page and how I want to decorate each page. And I will also be paying attention to my ephemera that I have, the vintage ephemera, and if I'm using a journal kit and I want to use the ephemera that came with the journal kit, such as pockets and envelopes and stuff, I pay attention to that all along, but for these journals I want to focus more on the vintage stuff. So I have a lot of ephemera, the fussy cut ladies that I used here, that I can just add on to some pages as I need to, and these kinds of cards. So there's really no digital ephemera that I really need to pay attention to make sure I get to use. But my digital, or my fussy cut ladies from the magazines, I do want to look at them and see how I want to use them within the journals, so I'll pay attention to them in the next step also. So I will see you then, and I hope that you will have a creative day today. Bye.